Let's go, boys!
Country music in my family goes back before they called it country. It was just music, you know. It's like, goes back to Scotland, really. I mean, both of my grandfathers were fiddlers, very good fiddlers. The first relative to make records was Uncle Guy, who recorded it starting in 1928. And Ola Belle was my aunt. Roy Acuff had asked her to join his band when she was young, and he was like, you know, grandfather of country music, you know. And that was a big deal back then. It's like Elvis asking you to join his band, you know. And she turned him down, and I asked her, I said, why did you turn down Roy Acuff? She said, I wanted to do my own thing, and I wasn't taking orders from no man.
Oh, Polly, pretty Polly, would you think me unkind?
So I would see Ola Belle's albums laying around the old record player. And I'd go like, yeah, that's my father's sister. It's my aunt. And she got records out. I thought, maybe it's not so hard to be. And you know, she's not a star. You know, her house looks like hillbilly heaven there. And you know, she lives very cheaply. She works in the grocery store and she got albums. She's touring colleges. I thought, you know what? Maybe that could be a recording artist at least, you know, little did I know. So this country music was always in my family around the house. And you know, I rebelled against it as a young man because I was into rock and roll. And you know, in the 70s, I was into punk rock, and I dropped out of college to go to New York to join up a punk rock band. Opened up for Meatloaf a couple shows and Joan Jett. One of my rock albums was produced by one of the Ramones, Tommy Ramone. That album never came out, but I have a lot of albums that never came out. I was lost. Did I do it high or low? Must have done it lower. I was lost in an airport. As I got older, I got more into my own country music roots. You know, I wrote more and more, pretty much exclusively country. I didn't know where I was going. I do like mutant songs where I'll mix genres up. Got a dash of German and a side of French. Fries, fat back and wine with snails and a frog, and he stirs it with a wrench. And he calls it barbecue. That's all my songs. Yeah. Some of these, they're not all for human consumption. But I had this obsessive, compulsive songwriting disorder that I just wrote one every day. Then they got weirder and weirder. Instead of mellowing out, they got like weirder, like a little too weird. Well, I stand getting older, I was wondering where to go, looking up to the sky, looking down to my toes. I proceeded down the street and I was walking on my feet in the heat of the summer, don't you know it was a bummer. These are from a journal of just a trip to Florida. Done in all kinds of, from states of mind, from LSD to mescaline to a lot of pot. You know, I've always had a drinking and drug problem, and you know, I got arrested. I've been beaten up. I got in fights. You know, you know, when I was a teenager, I crashed into a police car in front of my house. That's how my drinking began. Then it like deteriorated from there. I turn to the wine every time I get lonely. Finally, 3 years ago, I finally had enough after being arrested and beaten up. I said, well, that's bad enough for me, you know, it's like, plus I'm old. Ooh, what a mess I made of it all, and I guess I gotta blame myself. It was just a decision that I just no longer wanted to live like that, and I had a horrible life. I mean, I'm a failure.
What we did have, all the money in the world couldn't buy.
The country music tradition that I had, it just kind of, it made me realize that it doesn't matter. You know, my aunt didn't get noticed till she was, you know, in her 50s to getting close to 60. We're the end of the line. My son, he's 30. He's not into music at all. My brother's 2 daughters are not into music, so that's the end of his line. and nobody else in the family is, the younger people are not carrying on country music. It's sad in a way, I mean, but you know, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, it's just the way of the world, you know. Things die out. Ready to believe I could find strength. I could find strength. I could find strength in all